Whether you're the target of a bully yourself, or an innocent bystander, the good news is that you can stop bullying now. Robert Villafane is an instructor at Tiger Schulman's Mixed Martial Arts, and Michael Talbert is a student there. What is a bully, and what are the symptoms of someone who's being bullied?
Well, a bully is usually a kid with a very low self-esteem, and they feel like that they have to try to put somebody down to pick themselves up. And there's various different levels of bullying. There's first, there's cyberbullying, dealing with the internet, and then there's also verbal bullying, and then it gets to the next level where it actually gets physical, and then they're forced to take some type of action. So some of the symptoms of bullying, when the child becomes withdrawn from the family, or the child loses interest in doing his homework and going to school. Sometimes even the child will, just want to try to somehow carry a weapon to school. He'll ask his parents, "Can I bring the mace to school?" or something like that. So those are some of the warning signs that you can tell that'll show that the child is being bullied.
About 2 years ago, you started at Tiger Schulman's. Why did you go there?
I started because I had some anger issues that I wanted an outlet for my anger, so I didn't have to be angry so much.
And it seems like it was a blessing in disguise because you ran into a bullying situation yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, what happened was I was in a wrestling room waiting for a friend. We were just gonna grapple because he used to wrestle, and I do mixed martial arts. And these two wrestlers came in. One was the bully, and the other was just his friend, I guess. What happened was he told me to leave, and I said, "Well, no, the wrestling room's open for everyone." And he said, "No, go, or there's going to be trouble," in different language, but the gist of it is that. So he said no, and I said, "Well, I bet you I can submit your friend here." So he was a wrestler, so he had a little bit of pride about him. He said, "Sure, go." And I said, "All right, I bet you $10 that I can submit him." So we go back and forth. I submit him, like I'm trained to do. He gets up, I get up. The bully says, "Well, that wasn't fair." So I said, "All right, well, this will be fair." So I put my chin out and said, "You can punch me." He punched me. Nothing really happened. And I go back and I kick him in the ear, and he falls down to the ground, and that was the end of that.
A bully always has to be right, don't they?
They love an audience, you know what I mean? So.
What did he do right?
Well, he took a chaotic event, and he brought it down to a level where it was controllable. So, he used his own intuition, and through his training, he has enough self-esteem and self-confidence to go and say, "Hey, you know what? Before we even get down to that, I'll bet you $10 and I can submit you." And the one thing that he didn't mention was the kid was twice his size, you know what I mean? So, and then once he basically submitted the other kid confronted him, and the other kid, again, much bigger than he is, but mixed martial arts teaches you that even though they're twice your size, you can still defend yourself. The other kid was like, "Hey, that's not fair." And then what Mike did was he said, "Okay, I'll tell you what." I said, "I'll give you one shot at me, and then I'll give you one shot at you." And he said, "Okay, done." So he took a shot at Mike, but because Mike knows how to punch and he knows how to kick, Mike's kick was twice as effective as the one kid's punch, and he handled it the best that he could.
What do you do when you see someone else being bullied?
I try to intervene, especially if it's a friend of mine. For example, my friend gets not necessarily bullied, but maybe gets made fun of every now and again, and I step in and I tell him to back off. I tell him that there's no reason to bully him. There's no reason to make fun of him. He wouldn't like it done to you, so I do it to him. I try to intervene if I can.
Remember, confident kids don't get bullied. Thanks for taking 5 with Bully Prevention. Each week, the Life Tree Cafe in Bethlehem gathers people like you and me for conversations to feed the soul. Rick Sergi and Cole McClenathan are the team behind Life Tree Cafe. And Rick, can you tell us what a typical Thursday evening is like?
Sure. Each Thursday we gather over at the Fairfield Inn in Bethlehem. We gather anywhere from 15 to about 30 people. We come together over coffee, over munchies, snacks, and we just discuss various topics. Topics change week to week, and part of our evening is spent watching portions of videos where people tell a story that relates to the topic, and then we have people discuss it at their tables in small groups.
Let's look at some of the topics right now. The first one is triumph over trauma. Cole, I think you were involved in that one. Tell us a little bit about it.
It was a very interesting look into the life of a woman that suffered with anorexia. And the triumph part came out of going through the experience and being able to put the trauma behind her, meeting with the right people that helped her through the trauma, and consequently overcoming the anorexia that was a consequence of the being molested as a child.
Another topic was how to spot a liar.
Oh, that was a topic we had. Our guest speaker had a background in security and in terrorism, and he just talked about how in interactions with people, can you recognize when they may not be telling you the full truth? Some of the things that he told us were when you give them a yes/no option, and they're constantly grabbing one of your answers, may not be telling the truth. It may be that the answer really lies somewhere else, where someone telling the truth would be able to give you an answer that doesn't fit the slate that you have provided.
Surrounded by Stuff was another one. Can you give us a real brief synopsis of that one?
Similar to the Triumph Over Trauma episode, this was about hoarding, and it's just become a part of life. And the trauma for the person in this particular episode was that she had been abused as a child, and in that abuse, the father would remove stuff from her room, and consequently, she felt like she had to collect things to feel better. And so it was an interesting night of topics.
They Hijacked My Life was about
identity theft, how it's becoming very prevalent in our society, and it was just giving us some of the ways that we can protect ourselves, whether it's online, whether it's in our mail, whether it's in the way that we use our computer, just ideas, and even what we carry in our wallet, how we can protect ourselves from having that happen.
All right, and busting stress through humor, that was a topic that came up before Life Tree came to Bethlehem, but that it just goes to show you the wide array of topics that you cover. Now, you only have 1 hour for this. How do you fit it all in?
Well, our intention when we gather each week is not really to solve a problem. It's just to start people talking about the issue. So what we do is we get people going. We put out the topic. We put out our video. We get them interacting on it, and we kind of end when they're excited, when the activity is really high. And that's by intention, that's by design. Our hope is that they keep talking even after the program's done.
Yeah, always leave them wanting more,
That's
they
right.
say. What do you hope to accomplish through this program?
It's just drawing the community together with topics of interest. And there's a wide array of topics, and pretty much everybody is affected by something that we're going to have over just a period of a month. We know somebody that may be struggling through these issues, or it's issues that's affecting the nation as a whole. And so we just want to draw them together, give them a platform to talk with people that they don't know, but that allows them the platform that they don't have to be embarrassed about their thoughts. They can share their thoughts and have a extended discussion.
All right, so we'll look at the who, what, where, when, the Life Tree Cafe in Bethlehem, Thursdays at 7. Thank you for taking 5 with the Life Tree Cafe. Touchstone Theater on the south side of Bethlehem is truly a community-based theater, and Mary Wright and Melanie Diaz are here to tell us how. Can you give us some examples of how Touchstone has reflected the community in which we live?
Sure. Touchstone's been around for more than 30 years, and it began as street theater out in the streets of South Bethlehem, and over the years it has developed plays that really try to reflect the community. One of the most recent and really neat productions that we did was called Steelbound, dealing with the closing of Bethlehem Steel, and it was the first it was actually performed in the former foundry, and it's the first time that space was made open to the public. We also created a traveling show called Don Quixote of Bethlehem that went all around the south side of Bethlehem. And then this past year we performed an outdoor piece, site-specific piece about the Civil War and Bethlehem's role in the Civil War.
And most recently you did Ulysses' Dreams.
Ulysses' Dreams.
Which we have some pictures of. That was
great.
An outdoor show.
Yes, and that was sort of an artistic exploration of the Odyssey and the role of Ulysses and his relationship with the women, but it was performed outdoors so that people just walking along that new greenway in Bethlehem could just come by and see it.
Now, the other part of your mission is your Young Playwrights program, and can you briefly tell us how that works?
Sure. It's part of all of our education work, and Young Playwrights began 8 years ago. It's developed with teachers from the Bethlehem Area School District and Touchstone artists. We go in for 8 weeks, twice a week, meeting after school with the students, and we begin with theater games, and at the end of 8 weeks, each kid that's been part of the whole program has written their own original one-act play.
And Melanie wrote one of those plays and actually won a Young Playwrights contest. But let's start from the beginning. It's called The Devil Has His Ways. And how did you get the idea for it?
Well, I've seen many people around my neighborhood at school say that they hate their parents, so I actually wanted to write about that and,
So what happens in the play?
Well, there's this girl, her name is Princess Darkness, and she says that she hates her parents, but then the devil appears to her and takes their souls, and she actually realizes that she wants her parents back, so she fights for it.
So it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
What did you do when you found out that you won?
Well, I was shocked. I actually asked my friend to pinch me because I was shocked.
And how do you think it's going to be once you see this on stage?
Well, really cool because many characters move around, they know their part, and yeah.
And you, who will act in these plays?
Well, it's a combination of some of Touchstone's own people and local actors and community members, as well as some of the playwrights themselves. In fact, Melanie came and auditioned and got cast in one of the other plays that's going to be there that night.
Good for you.
It's a nice mix of people involved.
And this all came from the after-school program. Like, what's one of the things that you did in the after-school program?
Well, we played this game. It's called sculpting, and you have a partner, and you have to let the partner move you around, and you have to be in character and let her or he let you. Yeah.
You said that this after the Young Playwrights program is an outgrowth of your own philosophy that people can create their own theater.
Yes, and that that all of us have stories to tell, and that the community has a story to tell, and that we all have that possibility of creating original art and having a message to share with people, just like Melanie did.
And for more information on Touchstone's summer programs, you can visit their website, which is touchstone.org. Thanks for taking 5 with the Touchstone Theater.